You always hear people talk about ceilings in sports. This guy has a high ceiling, they say. He could be anything. But let's flip that idea on its head for a second. Because there's another part of the equation that barely gets the spotlight: the floor. And when it comes to building a football team that actually wins games, not just highlight reels, the floor might be even more important than the ceiling. Now, hear me out. The ceiling is all about potential. It's flashy. It's sexy. It's what gets people hyped on draft night, and what makes fan bases start dreaming about future Hall of Famers. You look at a guy like George Pickens, for example. He could do almost anything. The raw athleticism is off the charts. You know that, I know that, we've all seen the film. But then there's a game, like the one in Philly, not long ago, where he hauls in just 3 catches for 30 yards. That's it. That's the whole box score. And suddenly, you're reminded, ceilings are cool, but they don't win games by themselves. That's where the floor comes in. Because what if your team doesn't need a miracle every Sunday just to compete? What if you've got 11 guys out there who might not be superstars, but who won't blow coverages, miss tackles, or run the wrong route on 3rd and long? That's what coaches like Mike Tomlin are looking for more and more. Guys with a high floor. Players who bring consistency. Guys who do their job every single week without drama, without mistakes, without needing everything around them to be perfect. Let me give you a real example. You remember when the Steelers made that move to go get Broderick Jones? That was a ceiling move. Big upside. Potential to transform the left tackle position. But then, fast forward to the next draft, and they grab Troy Fautanu. And with him, it's a totally different conversation. He's not a guy that scouts are drooling over as some game changer. But every single person you talk to will tell you he's dependable. Rock solid. He might not redefine the tackle position, but he's not going to let your quarterback get planted into the turf either. And that, honestly, is where I'm sitting with this Steelers team right now. As we head into the season opener, I'm not trying to shoot for the moon. I'm not fantasizing about an explosive offense or a defense that breaks records. What I'm hoping for, what I'm genuinely expecting, is a solid, level foundation. That's the floor. That's the base you build everything else on. Now, I know how that might sound. It might come off like I'm keeping expectations low, like I'm hedging, but that's not it at all. It's about being realistic. This team does have talent. There's a ceiling. But until they show they can function consistently, run the ball, stop the run, avoid penalties, communicate well, they won't even get close to that ceiling. They have to prove they're fundamentally sound before they can become anything special. Let's break that down, starting with the offense. Because let's be real, if this unit can at least get a modest ground game going early in the season, then what are we even doing? I'm not asking for Najee Harris to break off 60-yard runs. I'm not saying they need to dominate on the ground every week. But how about 1st and 10 turns in a 2nd and 5 instead of 2nd and 9? That's not asking too much. That's just basic football. And for way too long, going back half a decade or more, we've watched this team stumble through bad down and distance situations, living in 3rd and long, punting way too often, and killing momentum before it even has a chance to build. And sure, they've tried to fix it. Tried and tried again. New backs, new lines, new schemes. But the result has mostly stayed the same. More rush attempts than results. And that just puts the offense in a hole. It limits your playbook. It frustrates your quarterback. And it deflates your crowd, your sideline, everything. I'm not a purist. I'm not married to the idea that the run has to set up the pass or the pass has to set up the run. I don't care if they go big to fool the defense into thinking it's a run, only to hit the tight and leaking out the back door. I don't care if they line up 4 wide and hit a quick zone run that gashes the defense. What I care about is rhythm, flow, identity, and the best way to establish that early in a season, especially for a team like the Steelers, is through the run game. If you can run the ball effectively, just consistently, not even explosively, you get so many things in return. You control the clock. You protect your quarterback. You calm down your offensive line. You earn play action. You make defensive coordinators hesitate. You create confidence. You build swagger. All of that stems from being able to pick up 4 yards on 1st down with ease. That's the kind of floor I'm talking about. And look, there's a psychological piece to this too. Think about the offensive line. These guys have been hearing it all offseason, how they're the weakest link, how they'll hold this team back. how they're not ready for prime time. And maybe some of that talk is fair. But if they go out there in week 1, open up some lanes, win at the line of scrimmage, and finish a game feeling good about themselves, that changes everything. That's not just a physical statement. That's a mental shift for the entire team. Suddenly, they're not hoping to compete. They're expecting to. They're believing in the plan. And that starts with those 5 dudes up front doing work in the trenches. But if we're going to talk about the floor on offense, then we got to flip the coin and talk about the defense too. Because everything I just said about how important it is to run the ball, multiply that when you're talking about stopping the run. Because if you can't stop the run, everything else on defense becomes irrelevant. That exotic blitz package, meaningless. Your all-pro pass rusher, wasted. Your top-tier secondary doesn't even get a play. We've seen that movie before. A team that's stacked on paper, but then gives up 5 yards to carry and can't get off the field on 3rd and short. Suddenly, all those big names and bold predictions go up in smoke. Because none of it matters if the other team is walking you down the field 1 run at a time. You want TJ Watt to take over a game? You better get that defense in a 2nd and long. You want Minkah Fitzpatrick to ball hawk in the back end? You better put that quarterback in 3rd and obvious. You want to unleash your corners, your linebackers, your whole scheme? Then you better earn the right to do it. And that starts with plugging gaps and hitting people at the line of scrimmage. There's no mystery here. You give up 2nd and 4, you're playing from behind. You give up 6 yards on 1st down, that opens the whole playbook for the offense. That's how you end up reacting instead of attacking. That's how you lose the game before you even realize it's slipping away. So again, I'm keeping it simple. I'm not talking about dominance. I'm not talking about putting up 35 points or forcing 4 turnovers. I'm talking about football basics. Run the ball. Stop the run. That's the foundation. That's the floor. And if the Steelers can do those 2 things right out of the gate, then we can start talking about ceilings and breakout stars and playoff pushes. But until then, all that matters is whether this team can show up and handle the fundamentals. And that especially applies to this defensive front. There's been a lot of noise about the talent level, the depth, the energy coming out of camp. You've got TJ Watt, you've got Cam Hayward, you've got Alex Highsmith. Those are names that make people take notice. But talent only gets you so far. You still have to execute. You still have to do your job snap after snap. And if you let a team like the Jets, who've got a mobile quarterback and a versatile backfield, start getting comfortable early, you're just giving them permission to run downhill on you all afternoon. You know what's crazy? It doesn't even take big gains to kill your defense. A steady drip of 5-yard runs is like slow torture. You don't even notice it right away. And then suddenly you're down by 10. You've been on the field for 10 straight minutes. And your edge rushers are hands on hips sucking wind while the opponent's offensive line is just teeing off. That's the stuff that kills seasons before they even get started. So again, it comes back to the floor, your baseline standard. Can you be stout enough, smart enough, consistent enough to force 3rd and 6 instead of 3rd and 1? Because that's where games are won. And it's not just about stopping the run. It's about what that allows the rest of your defense to do. You keep an opponent behind the chains, and suddenly your defensive coordinator has the full playbook open. Suddenly you can disguise coverages. You can blitz from unexpected angles. You can make quarterbacks second-guess everything. But if the offense is dictating the pace, if they're constantly in 3rd and short, then you've lost all leverage. They can do anything they want. And no amount of talent in the secondary is going to save you if the front 7 can't hold their ground. Let's talk about the quarterback for a second. And I don't mean Kenny Pickett. I mean the guy on the other side. Justin Fields. This is a player that forces you to defend the entire field. His legs are a weapon. His arm is still developing. But he's dangerous. And more importantly, he's unpredictable. You can have a perfect coverage call. You can win your matchup up front. And he can still break the pocket and turn a busted play into a 15-yard gain. That's the threat. That's what you've got to contain. Now, the Steelers believe they've found something. A tell, a habit, some little giveaway in Fields' game that might help them anticipate where he's going. They're not just sitting back hoping to keep him in the pocket. They're planning to flush him, to force him in one direction, to make him predictable. That's the key. Because with a guy like Fields, it's not just about stopping him. It's about taking away the unknown. You want to make him play on your terms. You want to take away the chaos. And while we're being honest here, You know what else you need to do? You go after the football. You go after it like your life depends on it. Because Fields has a history of putting on the ground. Maybe he doesn't lose every fumble, but he puts the ball in harm's way. And in the NFL, you have to capitalize on that. You want a takeaway? Go get one. You want momentum? Rip it out of his hands. This isn't just about bend but don't break anymore. It's about seizing opportunities, being the aggressor. But let's zoom out again. Because whether we're talking about the offense finding rhythm or the defense creating pressure, the one thing the Steelers team needs more than anything else is belief. Not hype, not swagger. Real, earned belief. And that doesn't come from talk. It doesn't come from interviews or predictions or preseason buzz. It comes from performance. From showing up on Sunday and doing your job. From proving to yourself and to each other that you're capable of handling business, no matter what the opponent throws at you. And here's what gives me a little hope. You listen to the guys on this defense, and they're not just saying the right things, they believe them. There's a quiet confidence, not arrogance, confidence. You hear it in Alex Highsmith when he talks about playing fast and physical, about communicating, about letting the results speak for themselves. That's not just lip service. That's a reflection of a unit that feels like it's ready to take the next step. A unit that's sick of excuses and ready for action. You've got leadership at every level. In the trenches, at linebacker, in the secondary, and more importantly, you've got depth. You've got guys pushing each other in camp, fighting for reps, earning spots. That kind of competition builds a strong core. It makes your team tougher. And when you combine that with talent, now you've got something real. Now you've got a defense that doesn't just talk about being elite, they go out and show it. And look, it's easy to sit here and say, just go out and execute. But football's messy. Things break down. Guys miss assignments. Calls come in late. The other team adjusts. That's why the floor matters so much. Because when things get chaotic, when the play breaks down, you fall back on fundamentals. On preparation. On structure. That's the safety net. That's what keeps you from imploding when the game isn't going your way. So what does all this boil down to? It's not about making a splash. It's about setting a tone. It's about walking into week one with a plan that you believe in and sticking to it. No panic. No overreactions. Just solid football. And if you win, great. That's the goal. But if you also come out of that game knowing you've got something to build on, that your foundation is strong, then that's a win in itself. Because the season is long. The real tests are coming. But if you don't have a floor, you're going to crumble the first time adversity hits. So yeah, there's a ceiling on this Steelers team. There's explosive talent. There's game-breaking potential. But none of that matters if they can't get the basics right. If they can't win first down. If they can't stop the run. If they can't stay ahead of the sticks. If they can't keep their quarterback upright. If they can't get off the field on third and short. You fix those things, and then we can talk about fireworks. Until then, just show me the floor. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a move that has sent shockwaves through the NFL, whispers around the league are growing louder. Terry McLaurin, the electrifying star wide receiver who has been the heartbeat of the Washington Commanders offense, is reportedly packing his bags and heading to Pittsburgh. Sources close to the situation suggest that McLaurin, known for his jaw-dropping catches and game-changing speed, is on the verge of donning the black and gold of the Steelers. The football world is abuzz, with fans and analysts alike struggling to comprehend what could have prompted such a seismic shift. Washington faithful are reportedly devastated, having watched McLaurin develop into one of the most reliable and explosive playmakers in recent seasons. Yet, the allure of Pittsburgh's storied franchise, coupled with a quarterback known for spreading the field, could make this a perfect storm for McLaurin to take his game to unprecedented heights. Inside sources hint that the Steelers see McLaurin as the missing piece in their offensive puzzle, a weapon capable of electrifying the crowd at Heinz Field and keeping defenses on high alert. The potential chemistry with the team's existing playmakers has pundits speculating that Pittsburgh could be gearing up for a new era of dominance, all centered around this sensational receiver. Of course, nothing is official yet, but the rumor mill is churning at full speed. Social media has exploded with reactions ranging from shock to excitement, with fans debating how this move could reshape the AFC landscape. Could McLaurin become the cornerstone of a Steelers resurgence? Or is this just another tantalizing whisper in the ever-evolving NFL rumor mill? That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.